Hello, my name is Cindy Hesser Martin. I would like to share with you some things I've learned and some thoughts I have about our education system based on my 35 plus years of experience in the field as a teacher, primarily in Kansas until I retired, and now in Missouri as a substitute for all grade levels and students of all capabilities. Our system is now being examined and possibly uprooted to be redesigned and better able to compete with other countries in the world that seem to have students performing so much better than ours in the good old USA. Okay. I'd like to address that first. It quite possibly is true. I would like to do documentary studies to verify everything I'm going to share, but from what I have read and done research on, most countries, or many countries anyway, in other parts of the world, do not approach education the same way we do. I think it's great that in our country we believe all students can learn and should learn in the least restrictive environment. That's wonderful, but you cannot have your cake and eat it too, I was told growing up. And in other countries, they often pave a path for students to achieve the best that they can in their own set of abilities. So if when they're tested, they test proficient enough, they will be on a track to go to school with other students of like ability, and they will excel at a much faster pace than what a student with some handicaps might be able to do. Students that have less capabilities will be often trained and receive education and skills that will help them to be successful in life. And these systems allow students to be less bored in a lot of cases, because students of a higher proficiency do get bored when they're not able to move forward as quickly as they would like to, and vice versa. Children get frustrated and want to give up if they're supposed to be learning things that probably will never benefit them in life and are far above what they are actually able to grasp. On top of all that, in our country, we have some students in almost all the classrooms now that may not speak a word of English. And we need to accommodate them as well. They have technology with tablets so that they can be understood, but the teacher may not be able to be the one communicating with the student all the time if she's also supposed to be, or he, teaching an entire classroom. So often another student will be given the job to translate and take the foreign students' comments to ask questions to the teacher. That takes away from the more English-speaking student ability to follow along and perform at their peak performance level. So what do we do? I mean, I'm not going to say that we should just throw out this system we have, but I want everyone to understand you can't compare apples and oranges. This is a system that we have chosen, and it isn't the same when you compare it to other countries. I would suggest that perhaps we can learn from the other countries, see what really works well, what we can incorporate, what we vote to incorporate in our country to pave a better path. But throwing out the Department of Education is not a good way to start. Also, I would like to say that in a lot of countries, they do have sports, but it's part of the community. And the community provides the space, the equipment, and the coaches for students, not the schools. It isn't the school's responsibility financially to build gyms and tracks and all of that. That's where a good portion of our money in education goes. And unfortunately, it can be very detrimental to education. Although it's encouraging for students to know if they get to keep their grades up, they can participate in sports. I'm not saying sports is bad. I think that we should have sports. But oftentimes I have seen small schools hire a teacher because they need a coach, and that's the main focus, and that's the main focus of the individual they hire. And I've seen too often that they do not perform well in the capacity of a teacher. I could give you some very good examples of that. But suffice to say, teachers should be hired on the basis of their ability to teach and their qualifications, not on the ability to coach. I think that would improve our education and reduce the amount of money needed to fund schools. I'd like to go into all this more, and I probably will with the book, but I just wanted to get that out there because it's very scary what's going on right now. And I've been through the whole gambit of paradigms over all these years. My grandmother was a teacher. I have a daughter that's a teacher, high school English in Nashville. And I really am scared of what's going to happen to our system and what will happen to our students. The other thing that's been discussed is to have parents be given vouchers to provide education for their children, and maybe encourage a lot more homeschooling. I don't know. But I know that a lot of students need public education or they will fall through the cracks. There's parents that would say they're homeschooling them and it just doesn't happen. The real problem I see with the system now as compared to years ago is the divided households with just one parent that has to work all the time, the societal changes. And what is proposed is not going to correct that. I'm really afraid of what's going to happen in the future. I just don't want a whole generation of students to pay the price for this. If you agree, pass it on. Thanks.